Thank you guys so much for joining in. We are so excited to have you for our live September town hall. So what we are doing today is we are talking all things Heartbeat. I got a lot of folks in the chat, very excited for this. Folks coming in from Paris, from Australia, from Colorado, California, Florida, British Columbia, Canada, London, Prague, Oklahoma. Wow. Okay, you guys are all over the world. I absolutely love it. This is so exciting. I am calling in from sunny and windy Chicago right now. Yeah, so excited to have you everyone in here. So what we're doing today is during our town hall, we like to spend some time talking about what Heartbeat is up to. We want to spend a little bit of time really showing you the vision, what we are building towards, what we are actually crafting, spend a little bit of time talking about what happened over the last month at Heartbeat, and then spending a little bit of time talking about what's coming up over the next month, next 2 months, so you can understand really where are we casting this vision and where are we moving towards. And then finally, probably the most important section of this call in my mind is we try to leave about 10, 15 minutes in at the end just to like pull up any feature requests, anything that you think is really important, maybe things that we've been missing, maybe things that we haven't kept on our eye on as much. We like to leave that section open for you guys to pull up features that are really important to you to make sure that we are always building Heartbeat in the right direction. And my big request to you guys is, first, I'd like to say thank you to everyone for joining on live. Jenna, welcome to your first town hall. Excited to have you here. But if you have any questions, feel free to drop them into the chat. If you are on YouTube, drop them in the chat there. If you're on Riverside, drop them in the chat directly. If you drop them in on Riverside, we can actually pull them in directly live, and we can actually pull you live as well too if you want to jump off mute and ask your question live. So we've got some tools to do that. But yeah, the biggest thing is thank you, one, for joining on live and spending some time with us. Like, it really does mean a lot. I know it's a lot to jump on a call and be present. And so I want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you for doing that. And then please, like, voice your concerns. If you have something that you've been thinking about, if you have something that you want us to be thinking about as a team, like, please vocalize it. Mehul, Nick, Mike all know this, but we have like completely deviated our product roadmap based off of feedback that comes directly from this call. Like, we've done things where, it's, small features that we built out. We've even made like 3-month deviations on our roadmap to focus on things that people really pounded their fist on the table for in these calls. So please, if there's stuff that you think is important, call it out, because we want to make sure that we have our eyes on it too. So like I said, the way this call is going to run, first third is going to be us talking about what happened over the last month. Next third is going to be what's coming next. And the final third is going to be us focusing on focusing on the feedback that you guys have and pulling up questions directly from the chat and making sure we can address it. So that kind of covers everything. What we're going to do first is we're going to start with what we did over the last month of Heartbeat. So with that, I'm going to hand it off to Nick and Mehul to talk about the product side of Heartbeat and what we got done last month. All right, guys, take it away.
Awesome. Hey, y'all. So very excited to share what we worked on last week. You may already know it because you probably already saw it in your community, and hopefully you've already used it. I've seen a lot of folks using that first one there. So one of the first things that we worked on this month pertains to sending your thread posts as emails to your community members within a channel. There came a few of these requests, and mainly for those of you that run announcements channels or news-based channels, where you want to spread the word a bit more about your posts, even when your members aren't necessarily on the platform at the same time, or maybe they've turned their notifications off for some reason, right? How else could we get them engaged and pull them into the platform with some enticing posts and content? And we pushed this out a few weeks ago. And essentially what you can do is when you're in your community, in one of your discussion channels, I'm in my API channel. Sure, yeah, that's the name of it. And I'll go ahead and just like paste in some example text for a post. I run a fake drumming community. If anybody wants to join my fake drumming community and fake learn how to play the drums, you're welcome to. And what I'll also do is I'll throw in a picture here just to show y'all what pictures look like in these posts. Let me just pull that in here. Okay, great. So now we have a post, and let's just say I want to increase the reach of this. I want to get people engaged via email to pull them into the community and read this post. So what I'm going to do is click the drop down on the post button, click send as email, and I get this little pop-up here. It will preview show me how many members that have access to the channel are going to receive this email, right? So we're still enforcing all those access controls that you've set in your community, respecting those. We're also respecting member notification settings. So if they have emails turned off, we won't email them unless you toggle on this, which we urge you not to do unless absolutely necessary. This is more for like those system or critical updates, but let's keep it off just because this is not a critical update. This is just an ordinary post. I can edit the subject line to make my email pop out more in their inbox. And I'm not an email copywriter, so I'm going to just leave it there because I like new thread and announcements. And I could also decide to schedule send it. I'm going to send it right away just so we can show y'all, but it is responsible to schedule send emails just in case you want to make an edit right after you click confirm, because I feel like we always have that buyer's remorse after we do it. So if I go ahead and click post an email here, I've made my post here in the community and it looks just as I expected. Beautiful. And then soon enough, in just a second, I'm going to also receive that in my email inbox. So let me see if I could pull that up for you guys.
And for the record, Nick, that hesitation on sending the email, doesn't matter how many you send. I always hover over that send button. It's still there. It's still a thing.
See, it never goes away even from a professional marketer, and I'm far from that.
But I have sent thousands of emails, every single one. I'm like, last minute, yeah.
If we're looking at my inbox here, Go Superhuman, big fan, not sponsored. And I look at my email inbox, I have a post within my inbox right here. I see who it's posted from, where it was posted. If I click here, I'm taken directly to that post in my community. I could also read the full post here along with the inline image, and at the bottom I can click view thread as well to take me there. We worked really hard to make sure those pictures are showing up inline in the email, so add pictures galore, however many you'd like. The only things that won't appear there for now are embeds and polls, since those are a little bit more tricky, and maybe in a V2 in the future we can get those added. So that's one of the things we shipped last month. I hope y'all use it to continue growing the engagement in your communities and get more folks in the door from their email inbox.
We do have a question on this, Nick, if I can surface it for you.
Yeah, for sure.
So Anne asks, I hope it's not too long to get it up on the screen. Sometimes I use the @everyone in a group to remind people to join an event or draw their attention to a post. When do you advise to use this new send as an email option versus tagging @everyone and having it show up as a just for you email generated from that alert?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I like to think of this send a post as email option as more of like an announcements or news-based feature. So if you have like community-wide announcements that you want to let everybody know about, let's say we have 4 upcoming events that I just posted and I want to build some hype and increase RSVPs for it. I might make a post and send it as an email. But let's say exactly for your use case there, you have an event happening right now and you're like, let me get everybody into my community as soon as possible and @everyone. What that's going to do is it's going to send a push notification to all of their devices, which is not something that this will necessarily do other than like sending a push notification via email. But what the @everyone does is it pushes them directly to the Heartbeat app, which is what you want if an event is happening right now. So I still encourage you to use the @everyone, and I think that's really good for time-based notifications within the app. You want them to see it urgently. The emails are really good for just having like another channel to bring people in or let them know about important information that isn't as timely. Anything to add there or any other questions?
No, I think that was great. Yeah, the one other thing that I would probably add, I think you had a really elegant explanation, is when I think about emails, like I always think about the interruption that it causes, right? And so I think especially if you're going to send a lot of information for an email, you want to have a higher threshold. And so that's why someone else mentioned in the chat that it's like, when it's special, exceptional information, things like that. I think that's like perfect for an email. And then I even think, even what Nick mentioned of like using this more for announcements of really like higher order things that you want to push out that you want to make sure everyone reads, reserving that for like the larger email blasts. So yeah, that's kind of the way that I'd approach it, is sort of what is the hierarchy of information? What's the most important things that people need to be viewing in a community? And email blasts work well for that. But as things, reduce in the importance level or in the priority level, making sure that we're not, jumping the queue and sending sending emails for every single thing because we don't want to oversaturate any channel.
And I'll give a personal example as somebody who was promoted from customer to team member in my community, which is not fake, for the record, unlike Nick's, which is fake community. What I do is sorry, just throwing a little slight at you there. I do polls to have members pick which event that they want to have us do next as far as a skill building event for marketing. And I'll take option A, option B, and I'll email that poll. I'll send that poll post as an email. Even though the poll doesn't show up, I do include a nice little image so it looks pretty in the email. But it gets people and it gets more participation, and that becomes the next event that we hold. So that's important because if people don't vote, then I don't know what to give them. So that's one of the ones, and it's not super timely. I can give people, that can happen over the course of a week, and it's still relevant for them.
Cool. Sweet.
Awesome.
Any other questions before I move on?
We
there
had
is a
one
question.
Yeah.
Go ahead. No, more. So you ahead. You got it. If you want to take it, it's too long for me to
Yeah.
put up on screen.
We had a question from Anne about basically having the unsubscribe option at the bottom of emails the way normal email service providers do. Is there a way for them to like easily unsubscribe or adjust their notifications? Do you want to talk to that and kind of where that lives in the email, Nick?
Yes, yeah. So that is very important. We totally agree. So I'll show you just where it is right there. Manage email preferences. So on every single one of these that you send, they will have the option to opt out of future emails. We know that could be a potential issue. Running a email-based community, especially, you'll want to give people an option to opt out. So yeah, we got that base covered, and they'll have that option if they want to use it.
Yeah, I think that's one of the big benefits of using like Heartbeat to like drive some of the marketing that you're doing is you're always going to have the best practices as well as like the safest practices built in because we want to make sure you're building your business not just well but like sustainably, and you're building something that you can grow not just over the next like 2 months but over the next year, 2 years, 5 years, however long you want to continue building.
All right. I think we're all good then to go. So the next one I'm going to pass off to Mehul to talk a little bit more about what else we worked on this month, which is some performance optimizations. Take it away.
So a lot of the work over the last month has been a little bit under the hood, and so we hope to kind of make that more available soon. And so some of that has been a lot of performance optimizations. I'll be honest, there have been a lot of you guys, and you guys have really made it easy to reveal all of the kind of shortcuts or duct tape that we put into the product in the earlier days. And so I think we've taken the time to really make things a lot more robust, and we don't want you guys having to deal with slow loading times or being unable to access your community. And so really what we've been focusing on is making sure that we on the engineering team have really good visibility into kind of what's going on, where issues are coming from, if someone is reporting something, how are we able to quickly find, diagnose, and fix it. And so far we've kind of invested in that process, and it's already revealed a lot of quick fixes for us. And so we expect in the last 2 weeks, in the next couple of weeks, continue to roll those out and just making things a little bit more robust and fast. I think one of the most notable instances of that was the search update that we announced, I think, last week, where we completely revamped the kind of back-end process for how search works in the product. And so rather than going through the kind of traditional database we use for everything else, we have a specialized search index that kind of takes in all of your content and makes it really easy to pull that up. And so that way you can actually find the content in your community instead of having to wait for a couple seconds every time. And so changes like that, both help us make sure that our servers are operating effectively and also make it so that you guys are having a good experience. And so we will continue to be rolling out stuff like that over time. I'm glad to see some people appreciating that as well. And then, can you go back to the Notion, Nick?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Mail, there was a question here in the chat about the search working great for the admin, but the moderators seem to get stuck with it. Was that just something during the rollout phase, or can you speak to that at all?
I'm not sure what that might be. My understanding is it should be for everyone. So if you want to kind of reach out about that, Charlotte, we can double check on why that might be happening. Another instance of that we don't have here is also notifications. That's another one where we've been spending some extra time on. There's a lot of notifications across all of our communities, so it takes some extra work on our end to make sure that those are nice and snappy. and we also have the feed where those get pulled in. So there's a lot of optimizations around the place. And then the other thing we were working on last week, I will leave a surprise because we're going to be talking about that in the next section. But don't worry, there's been a lot more.
Awesome. And with that cliffhanger, I think we're good to hand it off to you, Mike.
I'm just logging a question so we can come back to it. And I will ask if you guys could take over the chat for me because I'm about to look away. And that's a dangerous thing to do on a live stream. All right. Wild chat's on its own. Okay. All right. So in the growth world, the first thing I'd like to do is celebrate the milestones that we have coming up here. So Nick, if we could like focus on this first one here, like last month, you guys hit a cumulative milestone of $13 million in revenue that has flowed through communities to your pockets, your earnings. And then I look today and I'm like, this can't be right. This can't possibly be right because it's only a month later and you guys have added 1.55 million more in revenue than you guys had last month. So just awesome, like awesome, well done. I'm doing this because you guys, I can see it. I can't, peripheral vision. I can see the woo. I see the amazing. I see the yeah. You guys are awesome. I love the vibe. Bring all that energy because this is a win. You guys did this. You did the hard thing. And it's not one person doing it. It's tons of people doing it all across the Heartbeat community of community builders. So great job. We've got a heck yeah. We got a this is how we do. Yes, this is fantastic. Appreciate you all. Well done to you all. So amazing milestone. Next, I get my graphic out of the way. I got graphics now. I can't see the screen. Hold on. I got too much celebratory thing. Okay. We have had 31 communities that have crossed the 100K threshold. So that number continues to grow. If you're wondering whether it's possible to reach that six-figure milestone on Heartbeat, that case study group is just growing every single month. So congrats to you guys. And there's always people chasing down that milestone. There's always folks like right there. And like those are the ones I watch all the time because I get the most excited when you're about to hit that point. I'm super hyped for you. I do need to call this out that of that 31, 14 are over $250,000. Individual communities making $250,000. That's buy a house money in some markets. I mean, it's buy a studio apartment in other markets, but it's buy real estate in some markets, right? You guys are doing amazing stuff with what you're doing on Heartbeat. No, this is not per month, Anita, but you know what? Way to think big. Way to think big because you know what? I want the next person to come in with 100K months, and we're gonna start celebrating that milestone next. No, this is total revenue for you guys. So you guys are reaching this milestone as like, hey, I have left behind the era in my life where I have not made six figures on Heartbeat. That's what this milestone is. So congrats to everyone. Oh, and Eric, yeah, by the way, dude, like just motivation, right? It's possible. People are doing it. You're not alone. And for as many people who are hitting it, there's so many folks just climbing that ladder. So you just get in the hearth, look for backup from your peers. This is the great way to do it. So congrats to all you guys. None of that has anything to do with us. So congrats to all of you. Happy to build the platform to facilitate your success. Let's talk a little bit about the things that we're working on though. So to grow Heartbeat, work in a lot of different areas, right? So we've been focusing a lot on YouTube channel growth. So we have now cross-published my weekly update videos that I send out by email to YouTube. So if you guys don't get the chance to watch them in your inbox, they are going to get published there. We also simultaneously live stream this session and our tutorials out to the YouTube channel as well. We are on a mad sprint to hit to the 1,000 subscriber point. We just crossed 700. Why 1,000? Because then all the hyperlinks in the description become live hyperlinks, which just makes it so much easier for you guys to get the resources that we put in there. So I want that so that when you watch an awesome replay for some of the hosts that we've had, you can get in there and get all their links. That's the way we want to do it. We also are spinning out more. We have a monthly LinkedIn newsletter. So if you're not following Heartbeat on LinkedIn, the company page on LinkedIn, please do and subscribe to the LinkedIn newsletter there. That is a unique newsletter. It is not a cross-posted syndicated piece of content. It's originally written content, and we are featuring different communities on that. Every now and then, one of our team members or one of our contractors will reach out through the hearth to find somebody and tell a little story about that community, in addition to some of the amazing milestones and content that we're putting out. So definitely worth a subscribe if you haven't yet. YouTube and LinkedIn, go hit them up. Other things we've been working on, continuing to run ads. So we're using Google, Meta, which of course is Facebook, Instagram, and Threads, and YouTube ads. So we have been growing our budget over that the last month, seeing increasing success as we try to reach larger circles of audience. And our retargeting ads have been really well. So In the general lingo of this, you can either try to reach someone cold for the first time, or you can try to find someone who has been touched by your marketing ecosystem somewhere before. What we're looking at is folks who have read content on the Heartbeat company website, but haven't started a free trial yet, and we're just getting them some more info through the live walkthroughs as the main retargeting play, and that works really well. So we're getting a lot of folks to sign up for that. Depending on the week, we're seeing some very heavy attendee in that session now, this is just a really promising layer. And it just goes to speak for people are more likely to respond to an ad if they already know who it's from. So if you guys are thinking about ads, think about that. Retargeting is a great way to make that work better and stretch your dollar. And lastly, we're doing some conversion rate optimization. So rather than word salading at you, I didn't say CRO. I said conversion rate optimization because I acronym a lot. And yes, I just made acronym a verb. So we have a new create page in testing right now. So when you go to heartbeat.chat/create to spin up a free trial, you'll be randomized into one of the two pages, which is the page it's always been, and a new page that has a whole lot of testimonials of some of these awesome 100K plus people who are succeeding. Let the marketers go acronym. You know what, Jenna? Thank you for the empowerment and /enablement. Thank you.
Jenna, please don't encourage him.
Oh, no, it can't be taken back now. It's permanent. It's permanent. It's not going anywhere. Really appreciate you guys. Love the newsletter, by the way. Thank you guys for all the love I see in the chat. I'm just peeking over there on the side. And also we're doing a lot of metrics tracking improvement, guys. It's important to, like, the old adage of what gets measured gets improved is true. When what you measure is inaccurate, your growth can be inaccurate. So it's important to make sure that the things that you're measuring are measured correctly, that they're measured consistently, so that when you do dial things up or down, they do what you expect them to do. And that's one of the main things we've been working on. It's not one of the glitziest, fanciest pieces of marketing, but it's really important to avoid wasted cost. So we've been working hard on that in the past month. We also have, next section, I think, is we're gonna do support. Who's covering support today? Awesome. All right, take it away. Now I'm gonna go back to the chat.
Amazing.
Be like Mike. By the way, but I want this to be, I just need to take this in for a minute. People say be like me. Just, there's no
I really don't like
now.
you guys encouraging him. This is going to make the next team meeting so interesting. Yeah, lots of love for the LinkedIn newsletter. Very, very cool. Very excited to see that. It's honestly like very interesting content. Yeah, and I would definitely check that out because exactly like Mike said, it's entirely like it's written just for LinkedIn. And we just build it there, and we send it out over there, and it's got some really interesting, unique stuff in there that we don't include anywhere else. So I'd highly recommend checking it out. Awesome. Yes, love Mike's energy. I actually watch your updates. Thank you for watching the updates. Mike is just electric on video. I mean, honestly.
In person, apparently not so much, but yeah, the video, it just comes alive. Yeah.
We had someone say you don't want to watch them in 1.5 though. You're already accelerated, Mike. Just a caffeinated speech cadence. I love it. New York talking speed.
I live life on 1.5, I guess.
There we go. I love it. Alrighty. So on the support side of things, talking about some of the improvements that we've got there, we have improved the triage system for incoming questions. And the idea behind this is we want to be able to start breaking out our support team into product area subject matter experts, people that are really good at payments, groups, sign-up pages, people that are really good at courses, people that are really good at events, discussions, and being able to break it into those areas. So that way, when a ticket comes in, we can always send it to the right person who can answer it as quickly and effectively as possible. And the second thing is, as we continue building and growing our support team, we can bring people and start staffing up in those product areas, depending on the questions that are coming in, and know that we're always going to get back to you as quickly, as efficiently as possible. So we started thinking a little bit more about how are we building out and growing the support team to make sure that efficiency is baked in. The second thing that we are looking at is improving the infrastructure around support as we continue scaling and growing. So this is reporting and metrics. So we understand the tickets that are coming in, how long is it taking to respond to them? What is the capacity and planning that we have? How do we need to staff up our team proactively? As Mike dials up the marketing growth, how do we need to think about support as a complementary function? Understanding where issues are coming from, where in the tech can we push improvements and spend engineering time to reduce a lot of the issues coming in from support. and then improving the tech infrastructure itself. So a lot of Zendesk improvements. We're actually looking at contracting a consultant there to help us improve and really fine tune up Zendesk to make sure that we are using the systems that we have as effectively as possible. And then finally, testing out tools that help us answer more questions at scale. There's a lot of different areas for improvement where we can really double down and use technology to facilitate faster time to answer, faster time to resolution for these different tickets. And so we're exploring and testing out some of the new tech that's come out over the last really like 6 to 8 months to understand where do we have a lot of areas to improve over here. Amazing. Okay, any other questions that popped into the chat while I was chatting about this, Mike?
Let's see here. We have love coming in. We've always had great experiences with support. People complain loudly, but we need to give positive experiences louder. Yes. Thank you so much for that. Well, we're going to forward that on to the folks in the trenches and the support team doing this for you. We do have a question. Best way to get tech help. What do we recommend is the best channel there?
Absolutely. So I would email support@heartbeat.chat. That is the absolute fastest way to hear back from us and get some help. And what I found that's really helpful too, if you haven't already, is attending one of the live walkthroughs that we do on Tuesday, for the sole reason that I think once you attend a live walkthrough, you get an understanding of how do all the tools that Heartbeat has sort of work together to build this system that's larger than the sum of its parts. And I find that when people attend that live walkthrough, they sort of understand, okay, this is sort of the methodology behind how and why everything was created. It becomes a lot easier to just pick up a new tool in Heartbeat because you understand the foundation of like, okay, they were thinking about A, B, and C when they built this, and this is how they're building the next thing. And so that's kind of the way that I would approach it. Is if you haven't been to a live walkthrough, definitely attend, because you'll understand best practices, you'll understand how others have built in Heartbeat and how the features are sort of intended to be used, so that you can put them into action the way they are intended.
So we have community sending builders sending their peers to the walkthroughs. So they have hit home so hard that they're sharing it between one another. We'd like to hear that, guys. We'd like to know that the stuff we're doing is making a difference for you.
One person also mentioned, by the way, that there's the chatbot for support. We do have an AI chatbot that you can just talk to. And what that's going to do is basically go through and query the help center that we have, as well as like a bunch of stuff that we've loaded in on the back end. And so if you want to be able to just like have somewhere that you can go that you can ask quick questions, you don't want to have to sift through the help center docs, I would definitely recommend going there. The help center itself is also AI enabled. So if you search something in the help center, the first thing that's actually going to appear is an AI summary of like what, is probably the best answer to your question. And then below that, all the articles come. So we want to make it as easy as possible, right? If it's just like small things of like, hey, I'm trying to figure out how to schedule a post, or I'm trying to figure out how to set up an event in draft mode, right? Being able to just drop those questions in and then getting the AI summary is also like a really nice, fast way to get your answers. Yes, Rose, we are constantly improving that chatbot, by the way. I saw that you mentioned the chatbot doesn't always know what you're asking. We are getting better and better at that, and that comes with a lot of the support infrastructure improvements of we're constantly adding new articles, we're constantly improving the help center to make sure we can inform that chatbot. Amazing. Okay, I did see a couple things pop in terms of feedback and improvements. So we're going to move that to the last section, but don't worry, we are going to make sure to talk about that. We're just going to move that to that last third of the call where we like to talk about feedback. Okay, amazing. Anything else that I'm missing here on support specifically before we move forward? Okay, I think we've hit everything. Mike, do you want to talk a little bit about the community side of things?
I certainly would love to. So on the community side, and this is, our community surface area continues to expand as we have like YouTube updates and Hearth updates kind of all rolled in one here. So the main thing for events is if you ever miss them, we have them in the Hearth. And if ever you're not in the Hearth and you're just scrolling around on your YouTube app, we have them there too. You got them up on YouTube TV at home on the big screen living room. Watch these things. This is like the best channel you could ever watch for getting smart on business. Just put up the Heartbeat YouTube channel and just power through these. Also, at least have a laugh at my expense at all of the thumbnails that our editor has been putting my face on. I swear, guys, just check it out. Just enjoy them. I was asked for a bunch of thumbnails, photos, and this is what happens when you trust people. You trust people and you give them free reign. So enjoy that. Check it out. Yeah, that's brave. Yes, Jenna. I question. It's brave or sanity. I don't know, but yes, bravery or insanity, one of the two. So check out the replays on YouTube or in the Hearth. Most recently, we had Laura Sprinkle in August on Affiliates Made Ridiculously Easy. Laura is an affiliate expert. She has done like tens of millions of dollars in affiliate revenue programs. and worth having picked her brain and learned what it takes to make a high-powered system that scales revenue for you and your community. We also had Matt Cece about crafting a community landing page that connects. This is about all the things that happens in the buyer's mind when they're looking at a landing page and what it takes for them to make that decision you want them to make, which is, I need this. Definitely worth a replay. And then, of course, we had Bree Lever, how to hire a community manager, because sometimes you get to that point of wearing too many hats and you're like, it's time. It's time to build in a team. We got to go farther together than we could go alone. So really a great, we just had that one yesterday, a fantastic session. Catch all these replays on YouTube or in the Hearth. Also, as a reminder, if you haven't joined our interest groups in the Hearth, first of all, it's free to join the Hearth. Get in there. There's like 4,000 people who are doing exactly what you're doing, who are showing up and sharing tips and collective wisdom of all it takes to build a community business. And then join some interest groups. So there's the general experience, and then there's sub-interests where you can go deeper with more channels and special office hours events. So Patrick is a facilitator for the courses interest group. And if you join that interest group, you'll get access to every other Tuesday office hours, and a channel to talk more about courses and get your questions answered async. Also, Misty is a facilitator for the automations support channel and interest group, and that includes, like I said, a channel and once a month office hours, and that's on-platform automations, all of the workflows that we have that allow you to automate away some of the rote stuff that feels like a job versus a business, and high custom stuff when you ever need to get out of the platform through Zapier, Make, Pabbly to some other platforms. Really recommend these. If you're not in there, go check them out.
Amazing. And Tom called out our typo in the interest bullets. Tom will fix it. Thank you for keeping us honest. Alrighty. So we've talked a little bit about all of the stuff that we had happen at Heartbeat over the last month. Now what we're going to do is shift gears and talk about all of the things that are coming next. Now remember, as we talk about all this stuff, like keep dropping in stuff into the chat. Like you can see, we always take a look at the chat, and we're definitely looking at what are the requests and things like that coming in. We do like to save it for this last like third of the call, generally like the last like 10-15 minutes, but feel free to keep dropping it, and we're going to make sure we log all of this stuff at the end so we can come back to it. But without further ado, I'm going to hand it off to Nick and Mayhole to talk about all of the stuff that's coming new into the product over the next month, 2 months, 3 months. Nick, please take it away.
I sure will. And also, Tom, it took me about 4 reads to find the grammar error, so I don't know what that says about me, but thanks for your help. So we worked on a whole bunch last month for what's also coming soon in the next month, and that's what Mayhole was alluding to. You may remember in the past couple of town halls, we've been talking a lot about 2 things. One is like how do we get you set up faster on Heartbeat so that you as soon as you're dropped in with your free trial, by the end of your 2 weeks, you feel ready to launch. Whether you have an existing audience or not, do you feel ready and confident with what you've built in Heartbeat to start growing your business and generating revenue and contributing toward that $14.55 million dollar amount? So that is one thing that we've been thinking a lot about and working on. The second thing is the progressive disclosure of how you can improve your community as it grows, because the pain points are very different from like just starting a community to growing one. And as you get more people in the door, as you start scaling up, you're going to need things like cancellation flows, or maybe it's time to spin up a new channel, or maybe it's time to review those surveys that you've gotten from those that have canceled and make some iterations. Maybe it's time to increase pricing, update your custom landing page copy. There's so much to consider, and sometimes it's a bit overwhelming to just remember all of those things, especially when most of y'all are solopreneurs or very, very small teams. So we've been pondering that. We thought about sending Mortaza, Mehul, and Mike out, shipping them around the US and globally to help you guys in person.
But in a flat rate box, of course, to save costs.
Yeah, of course, USPS. It's only $15 per shipping. That proved to be a little bit too expensive and unrealistic. Flat Stanley is a classic book. Oh my goodness, I love that book.
Man,
thank you for
reference.
the throwback. Yes, DHL, which is another acronym, but we are deciding to move toward a different acronym other than DHL or USPS, which is AI. And we've been working a lot on how can we support you as admins, both in the kickstart, onboarding, and progressive growth of your communities using AI. Hardy AI, that's her name. So I'm going to demo you a little bit about what we've been working on. I'll be honest, y'all, it's going to look a little bit codey and scary and technical, but I promise I'll try to just like gloss over like the boring stuff and get into the exciting stuff. But if you have any questions, please share it. But basically, what we've been working on is how do we train an AI agent about how Heartbeat works from the ground up with all of its rules and limitations and all of its features and capabilities and all of the complexities, because not any one of your communities are the same. And the answer to that is creating a very comprehensive spec of how Heartbeat works and feeding that into an AI agent. So I'm just going to quickly scroll, but this is like the system prompt that we have to give this AI agent so that it can help answer all of your questions. And if I just go to one of these test cases here, what that results in, thanks, Mike. I've been practicing. Should I get a
The
turtleneck?
cadence was like so Tim Cook. It's fantastic. I just want to like right off, just well done.
Thank you. Well, so what it turns out to be is then you have this input. Let's say, for example, I'm getting stuck adding all of my community members to a one-time paid offer. I created the offer, but when I go to add members to it, it only allows me to give exemption, right? This is something that we might see in the customer queue, the support queue every now and then. So if I go ahead and run this, what our agent does is it starts evaluating the community in question. In this case, this is just my test community. I have like a internal test sandbox with this problem set up, but it'll start talking to me about, hey, I'm going to help you fix this. Don't worry. And it will look at what offers I currently have in my community. It will look at all my sign-up pages. It might even look at my users or my courses if it's relevant, but ultimately what it gives me is a solution. And so it will give me a message and a recommended action. So this is all kind of bleh, but what's important here is the action that it recommends. It tells me, oh, it's a simple fix actually. You just need to update your sign up page to fix the issue that you're experiencing. And ideally, it's just a one-click button to fix this. And you just click, okay, update my landing page for me, Hardy AI. And she does it because she's amazing. So let me just show you one more quick example here. Let's see if I can get a events one. Okay, here. Some of you may be like venturing into new territory. Let's say you're starting to, you want to use this new ticketing feature for events, but it's, it's kind of complicated and maybe you want a little bit of help and guidance. So we have an input here saying, I'm trying to create a public event, a public link for my big launch event. My ideal setup is that my community members, it's included, but for anybody outside of the community, they have to pay $5. Okay, let's see if Hardy could do that. She's evaluating. She says she's going to help us. She's looking at all the events we have in our community, and she finds our big launch event that we already have built out. She retrieves that event. She looks at who has access to it right now, and she probably realizes that this is a live demo. And sometimes things like this happen. But all good.
Oh, man.
But so essentially what would happen here is, oh, beautiful, it actually did it. What happens there is it tells me I need to update the event and make it public. And while I'm at it, why don't I create this public ticket for you? And we're going to charge $5 for it, right? So through all the JSON output that we're looking here, it's essentially giving us a one-click action to make the changes that you want in your community with the help of AI. And now I'm getting that fun sun glare too.
It's golden hour, Nick. Golden
It
hour.
is. So yeah, any Tom, I love that. Hardy stopped beating for a moment. I might have to include that in the error prompt if it ever happens.
That would be
Thank
an
you, Tom.
excellent error micro copy. Just yes. All right, you saw it here first, guys. Tom came up with it. There we go. Okay.
All right, y'all. So that
Awesome.
is like my big exciting update in terms of what we've been working on and what's coming. We want to put this in your hands as quickly as possible, but right now it is in the hands of our support team. They are helping us a ton in getting feedback that we need to continue making it better, because we don't want to give you something that is subpar. We want to give you something that is going to help you from day one in building your community or growing it and helping troubleshoot configuration issues that you might encounter as you're building out events, courses, channels, or whatever it may be in your community. So more to come, and I'm positive that I'll have more to share next town hall.
Yeah.
Awesome.
One
We've got
of the
love
questions
coming up. Go ahead, Mort. So you take it. You see
Yeah,
it in
yeah,
there.
we had a lot of questions popping up, but yeah, one of the ones that popped up was said, "This is great, guys. You're right to invest in this. So soon we can prompt it and use it as an assistant. Like, please remove people from these groups for me. Write a post to announce this event, etc."
So that's the idea, is we get it to a place where we can do that. For example, like removing people from a group, that is going to be like possible in like the current iteration of what we have internally right now. And like things like posting and creating content, we haven't focused on as much internally, but is something that we're definitely keeping an eye on.
And one of the things that I just want to call out over here, right, is our like larger vision. What Mehul and Nick are building towards is the notion that you should just be able to chat back and forth with it as you are building out your community and co-create your community with it. The idea is this should serve as your technical co-founder as you're building your business. And you can talk back and forth with it. You can ask it questions. You can also prompt it to do something if you feel stuck. You can ask it questions around that and have it not only answer your question about what is causing that friction, but even have it solve it for you, right? What Nick showed you is some of the API endpoints it's calling on the back end. The API is a mechanism that exists technically for you to use code to change things in Heartbeat. And so we've had that API. It's been pretty robust and out for about 3 years. What we're now doing is hooking it up to this chatbot so that it can actually take actions for you. It can say, hey, all we need to do is update the sign up link. Let's go ahead and update it for you. Click this button and we'll go ahead and execute that action. So that way you don't have to be a product expert in every single tiny feature within Heartbeat. You can take the vision that you have in your mind, lay it out in chat, and then have Heartbeat build it for you. So that's the larger idea here is let's take, like Nick said, all of the setup that it takes to go out and build a community and craft this thing and make the perfect experience for your folks. And Nick said, let's get it to happen within your 14 days. Just to give Nick and Mehul a little bit of heartburn, my like longer term vision is I'd like this to be doable within a day, where you can just jump on, chat back and forth. And like the same way, you see folks like vibe coding tools, you can just chat back and forth and like vibe build your community and see something come to life right in front of your eyes and get to the point where you're ready to launch this with folks in a matter of mere days rather than waiting weeks or months.
Fantastic. I do want to make sure we don't lose some of these excellent other questions in here. It depends on how deep we want to go, but Anne asked to specify, and I'm sorry, Anne, I would put your graphic up if I could go find it in the chat, but I appreciate you guys going nuts on this. So I'm the only, Anne asked if Anne says, so I'm the only one who sees the assistant. Members don't use it to ask questions, right? What's the V1, Nick? Yeah.
Yes, that's correct. So this is an admin-facing tool. We've gotten requests. I think there's a few in our like feature request board where it's like, can I AI bot myself? So that is a separate thing from what we're working on right now. Although also very exciting, but that this would be just an admin tool for now.
We had a question from Sue regarding the model. She says she noticed Claude 4 Sonnet. Curious why that specific LLM.
Yeah, so that's a good question. Honestly, we're using a tool that allows us to kind of be a little bit less committed to a certain LLM. So we're being like very open right now there's so many variables and levers that we can pull. We want to be able to pull on that model lever. So right now we're using Claude, but tomorrow we might be using another model, and it's very easy for us to switch between them. It's really just a matter of what's performing best. We have a few scoring metrics on our end that tells us how the answers are performing based on a few criteria, and whichever model wins.
We also have a question. Tamara wanted to clarify. I think you got it in the chat, Nick, but can it help duplicate offers and profiles too eventually?
Yeah, that's the idea. And like duplicate, yes, it would likely just use it would create a new one with the same exact properties. But yeah, essentially duplicating it.
And Patrick asked, the big question is, will there be a closed beta?
It would probably be a more of like a beta rollout here, because there is going to be a lot of feedback gathering. We're going to set this up in such a way that we want to like very quickly iterate and improve it. And that's why we're using it support internally right now, because the support team is able to just feed data right back into it. Whereas we want to be more respectful about your data and the privacy there. So we won't be able to iterate at that type of speed when it comes to like your actual data. So yeah, we're going to probably do some sort of beta rollout phase, and you'll definitely be the first to know if you come to the town hall when we announce it.
Awesome. All right. I think that's all the AI questions. We do have some feature requests in here. I've got them all logged, guys, just so you know, so we didn't lose any of them. But I do want to make sure we can get through the next little bit that you've got here too.
Cool. It's also hiring season for us, so we have a few roles open, founding product designer and 2 software engineer roles. Our product team is growing, the family is getting bigger, and it's more than just an AI bot joining the family. So we are looking for more parents to nurture this Hardy AI and the Heartbeat product, and very excited. If you know people interested in the role or are interested yourself, please go to jobs.heartbeat.chat and apply or send it to your friends. That's all I have on the product side.
Sweet. Let's go ahead and shift
Awesome.
over to growth. Mike, if you want to take it away, and I can help you manage the chat as you're doing that.
Thank you for that. Yeah, this is going to be, we're going to keep it tight because I want to leave space for talking at the end. So fundamental things that we're working on over the course of the next month. As the team grows, that is growth that is also going to be touching the growth team. So marketing and partnerships is going to be some headcount that we're going to be looking to add to the team. Specifically, we're looking to expand into influencer marketing partnerships. We know that there's a lot of people out there who have outstanding niche audiences, and we're looking forward to partnering with those creators, business owners, and personal brands. We're also looking to expand our affiliate program. And that's not just signing up more people, but empowering them further, giving them more tools to continue to do their job so they make more money and we get more people building communities on Heartbeat. Also, we're spinning, we're going to be, this has been on here a little bit, but just to give a little more color, we're going to be building out a thought leadership motion. And if you've heard that corporate term too many times in your life, the general idea is how do we think and believe the future of this space is going to be as a company? And how do our founders think about that? How do we think about it as a team? And so it's about building out Mortis's founder brand, where we can have his personality, his face, his thoughts, creating content and having that sharing out with the world so they can see that we're trying to build things just a little bit different, focusing on the individual people rather than building the next enterprise level tool that some other B2B company purchases. And we're also focusing on spinning up our own podcast. So we've had a lot of success with sponsorships. We've had a lot of success with these sort of tutorial events, even internal tutorials, which we'll get to in a minute as far as ones where our team members are hosting different topics. But we also want a place where we can bring in some of the best minds and most successful people in the online economy and speak to them about what's working for them and just find the intersections between that and the Heartbeat platform and what we can do to bring that knowledge to you guys. So very excited to be looking at building that out in the coming months. And of course, to make this all happen, I cannot do it alone. And so there is some hiring effort happening on my end as well. So I'm going to keep it nice and tight with that. We're going to grab some of these requests I see in the chat here. But let's talk about community. I guess I'll carry this one forward a little bit more too. So you're here now at the September Town Hall. So this Notion filter is the next 30 days, which also includes this very moment. So here we are. Okay, so September with Town Hall. Coming up on October 1st, we have a tutorial that is one of our internal tutorials. And I can say that because I'm hosting this one. So we're doing a tutorial on October 1st, or by we, I mean me and myself. I'm going to be doing this. I'm like it's just me by myself doing this. I'm going to be teaching you guys how to use Facebook ads, specifically to acquire leads for your community at a cost of $2. And to give you the full tease about it, think about it as, ads have a really great way of reaching who you want because you pay to play and you reach the targeting audience that you want. And then email marketing has a really great conversion rate of once you have a subscriber, they do a really good job at converting people over to purchasers. We're going to combine them into a single framework for you guys to go out if you want to consider a lead gen strategy that is in a paid channel, how to do that. So you guys are going to attend this one. If you want to RSVP, check it out in the Hearth, grab the RSVP to it. And I think it's live. I think Misty got it live. If not, just keep watching it because it's going to be live like any second now. And you'll be able to RSVP. And of course, we will have another town hall because we don't stop, can't stop these town halls. We just keep doing them every single month. And we love having these as a committed cadence every single month. We got to show up and listen to you guys. So get into the Hearth, RSVP for these tutorials, town halls, and the events. It's one of the greatest ways you can learn all that you need to learn to become the most successful community builder you can be. So very excited for that, guys. Very excited. That's what we've got cooking coming up in the next month. We're getting into the what you want to see next section now.
Okay, I just finished logging all the requests that came out into the chat. Thank you guys for dropping all those in. So coming back to all of the stuff that was popped in over here. So Barry asked a question about SSO. SSO stands for single sign-on. And what that generally means is like, hey, if I'm building an account for another product or another, company or app, I want to be able to use my same account to log into the Heartbeat community for that, company. And so I will say that SSO means a lot of things. Like there's a lot of definitions to that. And if your like basic goal here is, hey, the account that someone created on my external app that I run, I want them to use that same account to log into Heartbeat. That's actually doable today. So there's a couple different ways that you can do that. You can auto provision accounts using the Heartbeat API, and you can use that to auto create accounts. And then that way, as soon as someone signs up for your app number one, their account will also be created in Heartbeat. And the only thing that they have to do is they just have to enter in their email. They'll get the email verification link or code, and then they have to verify they own that email, and then they're good to go. So it's completely passwordless, and it comes off as a very frictionless experience for them to know that, hey, my account in one area is also transferring to my account in another area. And I think that's kind of the beauty of using a tool like Heartbeat, especially with the passwordless login, or it's really easy to create that seamless experience. Sorry, I'm using more tech terms. Basically, you can use the API to automatically create an account with the same email address. And the API is what allows you to interact with Heartbeat technically, like write a little bit of code that automatically interacts with Heartbeat and tells Heartbeat, hey, I need an email address for mortaza@website.com inside of my community. API you're generally going to be using if you're like working with engineers and you're building a larger product around your Heartbeat community. But if you were just building your Heartbeat community as like the main product that you're offering, you don't really need to use the API at all. Okay, amazing. Let's go ahead and continue scrolling down. Thank you. So we had the question, post as email so they can unsubscribe even if we forced it, and we had the email switched off their notifications. I think we touched on this a little bit, but we do respect the notification settings that people have. What we allow is you are able to set the default settings for people's notifications because we trust that you know your communities better than we do, and you know when they need to hear about stuff and when they don't need to hear about stuff. But when someone explicitly says, hey, I don't want any more notification emails around Heartbeat, we do have to trust that and we do have to accept that. And so that's when we'll go ahead and stop sending them specific notification emails through Heartbeat. So whenever someone like specifically says, hey, I don't want any more of this in my email, then we always respect that. The next question was around search. It works great for me. Oh, we already touched on this. We'll take a look on this one because it should be working the same for everyone. Brooke asked, can we please have the courses be 3 to 4 across instead of 2? Yeah, we can we can look at this from the design perspective. I know a couple of people have asked this as well. We can take a look from the design perspective. We are hiring like a full-time product designer, so we can lob some more of this stuff onto their plate and have them help us with doing this. Cool. The next one was, I'd like to have a more robust editor for lesson content. Why can't we underline something or embed our own HTML? That's been super frustrating. So you should actually, underlining is definitely something that you should be able to do within the course lesson editor. Nick, nod your head no if we can't do that.
Nod your head no? Can I just clarify the instructions you just said there?
Let me just double check. I'm pretty sure you could, but I want to take your word for it first. So I'm going to go test it.
Okay. Brooke mentioned, yes, I did, in exclamation points. Thank you, with 4 exclamation points. So yeah, you should be able to underline stuff. And Nick's gonna double check on that to make sure I'm not, leading you astray. And then, or embed our own HTML. You should also be able to use embeds. We do use iframe embeds. It's a like subfunction of HTML, but that does allow you to actually embed HTML in there. So in that course editor, we're basically using the same editor on the back end that you use for documents. And so anything that you can do in a document, you can also do within the course lessons. Just use the little slash to be able to pull it up. Oh, thank you. Okay, so Nick's pulling it up right now. Yeah. Please talk through it. Yeah.
So yeah, we don't have the underline here in the toolbar. That's on us. We can look into adding that. But you can, like some people said in the chat, Command if you're on Mac or Control if you're on Windows. Command U will underline it, or Control U. And then in terms of the embedding, in here, like Morchza was saying, we use like the same editor as in Docs. So if you click slash, you can type embed, and then you could paste your HTML here, and then hit enter, and then it'll display as the HTML embed.
Amazing. Cool. Okay, cool. Yeah, and Brooke, if you're running into any issues, feel free to just send a note into our support team, and we can help you diagnose exactly what the issue is. Perfect. So Tony asked this question, and someone else asked this question at the end as well too, of any chance of getting a public page that lists all of our public events? Yes, I have no idea when the timeline is for that, but I really want this because honestly, we also want to have this on the Heartbeat website with all of our public events on the Heartbeat website. So the short answer is yes, this is like a need. It's just one of those things that with like so much in the backlog, we haven't been able to get to it. But Mehul mentioned, or either Nick or Mehul mentioned that we are hiring for more engineers and we're rapidly expanding our capacity. So once we're able to get them hired and onboarded, this is something that we do want to take a look at. But yes, this is like a need, not just for you guys as community builders, but also for us as a Heartbeat team. So it is a universal thing that we're looking at.
Yeah, just to share a little bit more context there, the events update that we recently pushed, we made sure that we made some changes to support this. So it is on our radar.
Amazing. And then next one came in from Rose. When creating a recurring event, I would like my members to RSVP only to the date that they can attend. Is this on the radar? Yes, this is on the radar. I will say this is one of those things that is like a little weirdly complex in terms of like how events are implemented. So when we implemented these events, we basically made it the exact same way that like recurring events work in a Google Calendar, where by default you just accept all of them. And then, there's, you can remove individual instances and things like that from your calendar, but like by default, you just accept all of the recurring event. And so we've realized since then that it's not the exact way people want to use events when they're running these larger community events. That being said, like the actual technical implementation of how we can change this is a little bit more tricky. So it's something that we want to take a look at. Nick, I don't know if you have any insight from the recent events update. Okay, cool. But yeah, it's something that we do want to take a look at. Unfortunately, I don't have like the exact timeline for it, but it is definitely on our radar. Sue mentioned for emojis, finding them via the $type is hard. Like light bulb only shows up with bulb, and lightning I can never find with the keyword. I have to copy it from another source and paste it in. That's a good question. I wonder if we can just get a better way of integrate, because there's other libraries that have all of the synonyms and things like that. So maybe we can take a look at a library that does a better job of like pulling in synonyms for these emojis. Yeah. Okay, cool. It looks like some other folks have had some issues with that as well. Okay, maybe we can take a look at like better synonym matching, because I feel like this should be a simpler one to address. But we'll take a look and see if it's going to be one of those things where it's either really easy or it's like weirdly difficult. But we'll take a look. Okay, amazing. And then just as a heads up, I am noticing that we're going a little bit over time. So if you do need to jump off, I totally understand. But I want to get through these other questions because you spent so much time with us. I want to make sure we're able to address the questions that you left us with. Sue mentioned, I love the ability to leave an audio response on posts and they get the transcripts they get automatically. Would love a way to download those audio clips and transcripts with the administrator restrictions, not just everyone can download and share it outside the community. Okay, cool. This is totally reasonable request. We can take a look at this. Rose mentioned for courses, would love external courses outside the membership that allow us to promote our expertise while teasing the benefit of being a member. For example, the cost of the course is cheaper for members. I like this a lot. You can see Mehul nodded his head, which is very rare. Nick nodded his head too. These are all good signs for you, Rose. I like this idea because it's something that we're thinking about a lot more of like, what are sort of the halfway steps you take before joining a community where you get more buy-in and you get more interest. It is going to be a little bit harder to implement technically. I do want to just call that out, but I want to say, like, understanding what is the journey for someone to get committed into a paid membership is definitely something that we are digging into a lot more deeply, because not only as we see the different ways people build memberships, but as people expand, right? What you recognize is not everyone's just going to come up and immediately sign up for the membership. Sometimes you have to nurture people a little bit more in advance. So all to say is, I really like where your head's at here. We'll take a deeper look into how we could do this and how we might be able to approach this. It's going to be a little bit tougher technically, but I agree with where you're coming from here. Mehul, do you have anything to add to that one?
Yeah, I mean, we've been thinking a lot about, how do we take parts of your community and expose them to the general public more. And so I think this kind of falls into that larger goal that we have. And so I think we kind of just want a way to incorporate that into, that part of the product.
And for a little bit of encouragement. Oh, I don't know why there's an echo. For a little bit of encouragement, Rose mentioned, I believe in you. So I believe in you too, Rose. Thank you. Amazing. Anita mentioned, I love that this is getting recorded in the official notes. This is great. Anita mentioned as well, when holding an event, is it standard for the link to stop working after the event has started? I had my first event a couple weeks ago, and this is what happened. It shouldn't. We can take a look at that and see what was happening there. Because the event, like once the event starts, like the join event button should take you into the event. It should work correctly, and we do see that working for most events. So I would definitely write into support around the specific event and kind of what exactly you ran into, because that's not standard. We had one person mention to take a look at the Membership Geek podcast. We'll definitely take a look at that as we dig more into affiliate and influencer marketing. Cool. And then the next one was from Sue, another feature request. I need a way to set a specific expiration date for a free or paid offer. I tried to do this for a recent program I offered and could only set the access expiration for a number of days. My community runs in 3-month cohorts where the content remains consistent. So I need a way to give and remove access based off rolling 3-month time periods. Okay.
I think the feature within offers that you might want to use here is the remove access after X amount of days. So what you mentioned here was like the expiration of the offer, but there's another setting slightly below that where you could actually automatically remove somebody's access after a certain amount of time has passed with them being on it. Oh, I see, Sue. Okay, that's totally fair. So basically just a month toggle between days and months. Okay, gotcha. Heard.
Okay. Cool. And then the next one was from Rose, which was a MailerLite integration. Yes, we are actually taking a look at email integrations, and MailerLite is one of the ones that would be on the list. So you are already thinking ahead of the curve. Sue also requested a Google Meet integration. I don't use Zoom. I think this is something that we would definitely consider. The honest answer here, Sue, is that Google makes it ridiculously hard to like integrate with their products. So we'll take a look at this and just to understand the tech complexity of it a little bit more as well. Yeah, we'll have to dig in to see just like how big of a project it is, but you are not the only one. We have a lot of people that have requested the Google Meet integration, and we do want to make it easier for you to run and manage these events in Heartbeat and tie in these different platforms without having to go in and make extra clicks. As of right now, though, you can take the Google Meet link and drop it in the custom section, so you can choose a custom option and drop the link there, but I totally hear you in terms of just like having an integration. Anita mentioned I use GoBrunch for events. Totally heard there, Anita. What I will say, though, is with these integrations, just because they all take about the same amount of time, and then they also require some maintenance time to like keep them running long term, right? Anytime GoBrunch makes an update, we also have to be aware of that and make adjustments to these integrations. We tend to hold off on integrations with products until they're like really widely used across the Heartbeat user base. So I would say this is probably one that we would hold off on. We do have a like public feature request page where I know GoBrunch is definitely listed, so I definitely recommend upvoting that there. And then once that passes a certain voting threshold, that's when we take a look and say like, hey, it makes more sense to build this now versus later. Okay, we had someone ask about the calendar embedded on the website. Yes, so we talked about this a little bit earlier. Definitely something that we want to build. David asked, I'd like to see a revamp of the forum, something with subjects so posts are easier to skim and discover. David, this is a little bit of a philosophical question. So I think we've so far always held off on the need to have like a post with a larger subject, because the bigger problem with that is that it puts a lot of onus on the user and the writer themselves to think through like the structured build of how a post goes. And then that way you get less off the cuff things where people are just like, I have a question about this thing, or I'm curious about this thing. And it actually tends to reduce the amount of posts that come in from your community members. And so obviously like there's areas where it does make sense to sort of like meter that fire hydrant. So far we've held off on that for the sheer fact of we don't want to add in more friction for people to build a post. We want it to feel really simple and really natural for them to do that. And maybe there's ways that we could even do that of, just like auto adding in post categorization or things like that. I don't know. I think there might be some more intelligent ways that we can think about doing this rather than forcing members to like come up with a subject for each post. But that's kind of where my head's at. Is I want to find a more elegant way than requiring members to like do all this work on their end. But let me know if you have any like follow up notes over there. Jenna mentioned themed group chats with the ability to add or remove members. You should be able to do that right now, actually. Let me know if you have any issues doing that. But with the access groups and with the group chats that we have right now, that should be something that you're able to do. Just double check the help docs, and you should be able to find like a video that walks you through that. Yeah, that should be doable as of right now. Awesome. And someone just mentioned in the chat that they actually do this. We had one person mention a workflow trigger on group leave and on subscription cancellation. Yeah, that makes sense. I agree with you. We'll take a look at that. Another one, which was a little bit more editing in events would be nice. I've been relying more heavily on the usual emojis to draw attention to infos. And is that, help me understand that. Is that just more like, hey, I want to be able to have like, headers with different sizes. I want to be able to have, like different text, like help me understand exactly what this would look like past, I see you use emojis, but like past the standard text editor that's like there, like headers, subheads, images. Okay, cool. And then the next one is, I don't think we can indent in the editor. That would be useful. I use the arrow emojis to show an indent. I think this is one of those things where we can double check to see if the library that we're using already has this. And if it does, then it's really easy to implement. And if it doesn't, it's going to be weirdly difficult. So Sue, we'll have to take a look and see if this is one of those things that'll be doable. But based off of a lot of this, I'm seeing a big trend around just being able to have more control over the way text and content appears on pages. And so what we might do is just kind of put together a little mini project around that just we can pump out some of these quality of life fixes down the road. So this is the trend is sort of helpful here to understand kind of where you guys are moving towards. Tim asks, can you embed a PDF reader in courses? Tim, this should actually be there. The same way, like I mentioned, because everything in the docs section, we also use that technology on the course lessons. You should actually be able to embed a PDF in course sections. So let me know if you have any issues doing that. Rose said, is it possible to offer members payments in their country's currency? That should be doable. Do we have Stripe's adaptive pricing turned on, Mehul? Oh, we don't? Is that something we can do, or is that something that's going to take a lot more engineering work?
We could look more into it.
Okay.
Yeah, right now the way it works is that any given offer has to be of a particular currency, and if you want multiple currencies, you can kind of have that via different offers. But there might be some ways to kind of work around that.
Cool. Yeah, Stripe has a function called adaptive pricing where basically like whatever location they're in, they can auto charge the card in that currency, and then it comes to your bank account in whatever your preferred currency is. So that's what I'm thinking we might take a look into to just see, is this something that we can very quickly implement, just extending the technology they have. If for whatever reason we're not able to, then that would be kind of the big stopper. But yeah, we can look into that a little bit more as well too. Then we had one person mention a world map for the directory. I missed one. For recurring events, I'm not seeing daily. Am I missing something? Yes, Julie, this should be doable. When you set a recurring event, you can choose the days of the week that recurring event happens. So if you say, hey, I want a recurring event, I want it to happen weekly, and I want it to happen Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, then that would be a daily event. And again, for this, we just borrowed the same functionality that like Google Calendar has when you're building recurring events. We had one person mention a world map for the directory. This is something that we've lightly explored. The reason why we've held off on this is just understanding like what are the like use cases in terms of how it drives and moves your community forward. And what we found is in a lot of the platforms that do this, it ends up being like a really nice to have feature. And then you look at it and you're like, cool, I don't really know what to do with this or how to use this to grow and scale my community. So that's been actually the blocker for me in saying, hey, we should push this forward on the engineering side. So maybe I'm missing some context there, but that would be the helpful question to ask. Zoom in and find people to meet in person. Okay, cool. Yeah, I think we might also have some functions that can help you do that more effectively, but I hear what you're saying of just understanding like what are the geos that you're like assembling and bringing people together in. Okay, cool. We can think about this one a little bit more. Can we have other social media icons for people active other than IG, LinkedIn, and X? Yeah, and if you shoot us the exact social platforms, that's helpful. Because I don't think we're opposed to adding this. The biggest thing is just like we don't want to just like over add in stuff for the sake of adding it, because the biggest thing that we want to avoid is giving people decision paralysis when they're first getting started. Because yeah, a lot of where this pops up is like in the onboarding and things like that. Cool. Yeah, something that we can definitely take a look at. Patrick said, hi team, can we create a live regular experts level training for those who are facilitators, partners, helping hands, who want to be able to answer more in-depth technical questions in the Hearth? This could help us speed up response times in the Hearth and ensure the very best answers are available to members. It would also free up time for support and the team. Heartbeat's improving fast, which is great, and it's essential to have ways to stay on top of the changes and how they impact existing processes. Yes, very pertinent question. I don't think we have done as good as we can do in terms of providing resources for the facilitators and helping you guys actually connect with folks in the Hearth and better serve them. I think this is candidly something that we've done very poorly at. And so this is, yeah, we want to get better here. And I think the base level of having some more targeted messaging for you all to understand what's coming down the pipeline, when it's coming down, and giving you the insights and content you need to be able to answer questions is huge. Like, Patrick, I know you run the courses interest group, and it's like one of the biggest, like, I remember we like definitely messed this up. It's like, we didn't tell you when we updated courses. It's just like the most simple thing that we should have done. So the short answer is yes, we need to get better at this. And I think what's actually going to help us is as we bring on some of these new hires and we can like dedicate some folks directly to like plugging into the Hearth and understanding how we want to improve that, we'll have more bandwidth to better and more effectively communicate with y'all. All right, next one is from Tony. Possible to use to have a short description on the offer page without having to enact the sign up page. Yes. I honestly think we want to improve the sign up page a little bit more to just have sort of the different forms embedded in there. Different ways of interacting with customers like already in there. And so that way, like if we're building out just a shorter page with the description, it doesn't need to generate the full section and the full page. So I think there's actually probably just more elegant ways that we can implement the sign up page that just automatically adapts to, I just have one description, that's all I'm including. Why do I need to add in these 8 other things? Cool. Okay, next one, which was from Anne, public courses. Mike's suggestion in a recent video to create a different onboarding lead magnet for courses. It reduces all friction at the sign up because then I can use course workflows to promote paid offerings. I'm testing that now because a lot of people were not filling out their profile and never got to the course. Okay, cool. Yes, Mike did leave a video in the last update, walk through just like what a more optimized and like really low friction onboarding is for members. We had someone mention a Zapier API request for community analytics. Do you mind dropping in what community analytics would be important for you? Just because it's helpful to know, right, of what kind of stuff you're trying to pull directly from Zapier. Tom asks, is Gmail on the list of email integrations as well? As of right now, no, Tom, and for the sole reason that like Gmail is not typically used as a newsletter sender. It is more so used as just like directly an email inbox to chat back and forth with folks. And as a result, it's not optimized to do mass sending to also protect against unsubscribe, spam complaints, and things like that, the way a larger email provider like a MailerLite, a MailChimp, ActiveCampaign, those types of tools are. So that's why like we're not looking at it too much in terms of the email integrations, because once you start sending out larger campaigns and newsletters, you're going to want to use a tool that's a lot more optimized for that. Otherwise, you risk actually blacklisting your email. Yeah. Okay, last one was from Anne. Socials and profiles, how about a flexible field? Yeah, we've been thinking about this of like more custom profile fields and how we can add that in. So it's definitely something on our radar. Just understanding exactly how we want to implement it is kind of the next question on our end. But the short answer is I think we've already ventured there a little bit with like being able to move onboarding questions into the profile. Now it's understanding what are we turning into like official profile fields. So like this, it's not totally off base. Okay, wow. We hit everything. And I know like for everything, I couldn't give an exact timeline of, hey, we're working on this month, or we're working on this month. But I wanted to make sure that one, we could tell you what is actually on our mind, what we are like seriously thinking about, and then also be very clear about like, hey, what is probably just like not a priority for right now. Because what I always like to, call out is that focus is about saying no. And we have to make sure that we are focusing on the right things to build the absolute best product for you to grow and scale your businesses. And so when I say no, I promise I say it with a lot of love and empathy, because I know you don't, I know these feature requests are important. Cool. Yeah. We got the pieces around the Zapier integration. So that was super helpful. Amazing. Thank you guys so much for joining live. Again, it really does make a huge difference when you show up, you vocalize the things that are important to you and where we need to keep our eye on, because that is what helps us grow. This is what helps us set our product roadmap and understand what is actually going to make Heartbeat into a business that's not just, like financially successful, but truly building the right technology to help you grow and scale your business and make an impact on the world. So thank you guys so much for joining on. We're going to go ahead and sign off for today. Take care, you guys, and we hope to see you at the next one soon.